Welcome to Mimi in the City podcast, exploring music through the boroughs of America. Today we are joined by a Dayton rock legend, someone who's played on some incredible tracks, continues to make good music to this day. We're joined today by Mitch Mitchell. Mitch, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure being here with you guys today.
Yeah, we're really glad to be with you.
We look forward to this conversation.
Yes. All right.
So, Mitch, we typically just kind of give the backstory. So, just give us a little bit about, your life. If you're from Dayton originally, grew up where, and, all that kind of early memory kind of stuff.
Well, I grew up in Dayton. My dad was a World War II vet, and he had a house built that we lived in my entire life until I moved out when I was 17. It was a great place. It was a loving house. My parents, both mother and my dad, listened to a lot of music. I mean, my mom loved Nat King Cole, and my dad loved like Bing Crosby, Frank Sinatra, all that good old kind of music, from the day, Dean Martin and all that. And so my love of music started at a real early age. And I mean, we would listen to music more than we wouldn't watch TV. We would always just listen to music. Music was always playing in the house. And so that's how I kind of grew to love the music angle. But the story that really solidifies my love and devotion to music was there was a time when I was probably about 9 or 10, and this is just when the Rolling Stones record Satisfaction came out.
Okay.
Well, there was a big store near our house called Ontario. It was like they had every kind of thing you could buy in there, but they had a little record selection there, and I went and I bought the 7-inch Satisfaction, and I brought it home. And I had it in my room. I had a little record player set up, and I had some little singles and 45s, and I was playing that record. And it just so happened that day my grandmother was there visiting, and I was playing the Satisfaction. And she came into my room, and I'll never forget it as long as I live. She grabbed that record off the little record player and smashed it on the thing. I said, this is terrible, bad. You don't want to. Oh, and she was going nuts. She was mad as fuck. And I was just watching her. I was just watching like, wow, I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to cause that kind of reaction.
Wow.
And that just totally cemented the idea in my brain that I'm going to learn how to play music. I want to do something like that to make people just freak out,
Yeah.
And so not long after that, I had a little drum set that I had for Christmas and I would bang on. But I was like, man, I really like the bass. I like, that was kind of drew me into the music, and listening to the Beatles and listening to the Stones and Cream and older bands. That was kind of what drew me. So I want to play the bass. So luckily, my parents being understanding, they bought me a little bass for my birthday. So I started trying to learn how to play, and then eventually they let me take lessons over at Dayton Band, over there on Main.
Yeah.
The old Dayton Band, the old cool Dayton Band.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I used to go over there and hang out with those guys, and I would stay in there all day long, just listening to, Bob and Shake from Shaking the Cinders and all those guys in there, and I would just hang out all day and just absorb all that thing, and it was just, to me, it was like, oh, this is what I want, and this is all I want. And I just did it. I took some lessons, and I remember the very first thing my bass teacher ever told me. His name was Joe Pepitone. He said,
"It's a great name."
He goes, "I'm gonna tell you, the first lesson in music, all drummers are assholes." That was the first thing he said to me. I looked at him like, what are you talking about?
Now, how old were you at this time?
I was about 10, 11 years
Oh,
old.
that's awesome.
That's
And I'm like, okay, all right. And,
you know, drummers and bass kind of have to get along.
yeah, not knowing what I know now, it just kind of set a tone for me. And then, through the years, I've come to realize the fact that he was 90% right.
No drummers present, so we're good.
Yeah,
There's always those exceptions.
I've known some drummers. I've known a lot of drummers, and I would say it's probably 50-50. Most of them are really cool, and they're great musicians, and some of them are total jerks. So, but
I bought my first guitar at Dayton Band.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
My first guitar there.
My acoustic. I remember they had the old practice rooms with the sound, just little holes in the walls, and I love that place.
Yeah.
So it was
great.
on Main Street, like North Main, or
Before
North Main, right,
just
right
south
across,
of Needmore.
right across from the Forest Park Plaza.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Remember the old She was down in there?
Yeah. I
That was a
used to go
wild
there to
place.
shop.
We actually saw. We went to see Bob, me, and a couple other guys went to see the Ramones down there, and
Oh,
we
wow.
see a couple cool, crazy bands.
You saw the
down there.
Ramones.
Yeah.
That changed your
at the
life.
She. Yeah, it absolutely did. Yeah,
Well,
it did.
Yeah, John Thrasher mentioned that in his episode, the She venue, briefly. That was down off of North Main as well, because I don't remember. I think I'm too young to
Yeah,
remember
I
that
don't
venue.
It was right behind the Forest Park Plaza. There was it used to be it was a disco initially when it first came to be, and then there was another rough bar right down away. And I don't remember the name of that place, but when I was in high school, I remember me and my friend stole a fire extinguisher out of the high school, and we went driving around, and we drove over to the disco there at the She, and I had an old pickup truck, and we drive to the parking lot, and we see the girls walking in, and we're in high school, and we're like, "Hey, baby, how you doing?" And these girls are like, "Whoa!" They look at us like, "Are you kidding me? Like, hey, you gonna have a good time tonight? You want to have some fun?" And they're like, why don't you just get out of here? So we take that fire extinguisher and we just we'd hose them down, man. Say, "Have fun, darling." We just soak them down. And we took this fire extinguisher and we would drive around all over downtown, and we would do that kind of thing. We'd pull up next to somebody. "Hey, what's going on?" Squirt them with a fire extinguisher.
Jeez.
Where did you go to high school?
I went to Northridge.
You went to Northridge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I graduated from Northridge in '77, and I tell you what, it was a wild, incredible place to grow up, and I'm thankful every day to have that, upbringing, experiencing all that stuff. That it was just a nutty time. It was the '70s. It was just like, man, it was just like, I just learned how to smoke pot. It was like, girls playing music, and it's just like, man, this is where it's at. And it was a beautiful time of life.
Yeah.
I feel bad that kids can't have that same experience that we had back in that time, but it was just another world, a different world, and
Oh yeah, you didn't have the cell phones. Your
no,
parents didn't know where you were.
No, we had no cell
Yeah.
phones, no nothing. And we'd go out and disappear, and then we'd come back, for dinner
Yep.
at night and
Pick up a fire extinguisher somewhere. along
fire
the way.
extinguishers, firecrackers, whatever we got our hands on, we would just go buck wild all the time. Oh man!
So when you were you started learning bass when you were about 10 or 11, you said. And so was your goal when you started learning to play bass, like, I want to do what the Stones are doing and the Beatles are doing? I want to do that too. That's why you started
I
to
absolutely
learn.
wanted. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to play in a band. I wanted to play music. Nothing else interests me. I mean, I was, in school. I was into sports, and I love that. But music to me was just like, that's what I want to do forever. I know sports is, and I didn't know it at the time, but sports is something you do for a short amount of time. You look at
Right.
like pro athletes, you look at that, they don't last long. But rock musicians and rockers, you can rock forever, and I'm still rocking. And look at, I'm old guy, and I still like to rock, and I still do it.
Yeah.
It's something you can do forever. And so, not knowing that then that I know now, I just knew that I will always want to do this, and I don't want to do anything else. I don't care about anything else but this.
So were you hanging out with, nine, 10, 11, you're in middle school, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking, because around 16, you're a sophomore.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, something like that.
So were you the only person out of your friends that were playing an instrument, or were other people getting on board with that too?
No, it was really weird because when I was just starting out, we were just getting together. I was in the same class with Kevin Fennell, and there was another guy in my class named Scott Bianco. We were all in the same grade, and I would back in that days, you could go around and there were like guys playing in garages. There was a lot of garage bands kind of starting and happening. So a lot of the older guys were playing music. There was a lot of old guys, and I don't remember all their names, and my neighbor's son was in a band called The Post. That was an old band that really got kind of popular, and I would remember when they would practice, I would go over and I would look into the basement window and watch them play, and so.
What was their style?
They were. I don't really remember that much about them. I just know that they were probably early '70s kind of a band. So they were probably had some keyboards and some guitars, things like that. Maybe Steppenwolfish kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then when I met Kevin and Scott, we would talk about playing music, and we had shared interest in that sort of thing. So I didn't really know at the time, but Kevin was playing drums. He was learning to play drums, and Scott was learning to play guitar, and I'm learning to play the bass. And we were just like, let's get together and just play some songs, see if we can just learn songs and play them. Because I would sit for hours and put a record on and try to learn how to play along with it. And the first song I ever remember learning to play was Funk 49 by the James Gang.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, and, I was listening to Black Sabbath and all these, and Uriah Heep, and all these bass players were like really putting that Grand Funk.
Grand Funk.
And I was listening to these guys playing bass. I'm like, man, these guys got it. I mean, Paul McCartney is one of the greatest bass players. Yeah. Unappreciated. People don't realize how good of a bass player he was, And all these guys were like really just blowing my mind, And so I wanted to be like that. So I would learn and I would play and I would, and we'd get together and learn a couple little songs. Like I think our first song was Little Black Egg. I think the first song we learned together. And so, we started doing that more and more and more. And eventually we got to the point where we had a few songs. And then Kevin lived in this apartment complex over in Northridge that they had a youth center that on Tuesday nights, whenever, they would have the kids kind of come in and kind of hang around. They'd have pool tables, stuff like that. But they let us come in and actually play.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we went in there and we would play some songs and kind of hang out, and it was.
Was that your first gig then?
That was kind of my first gig, actually first gig. Yeah.
What was the name of that band? Do you remember?
We didn't really have a name. We just were just working things out. We were just just having a lot of fun, kind of doing it. So we weren't really thinking about names, but then as this went along, we said, what, let's just be a band. Let's just do this and try it and see what happens. So we got a name. I think our first name was called the Blue Mist. And when we were in 7th grade, we actually got hired to play the 8th grade dance.
Oh, wow.
And I have a picture hanging up on my wall right now of us standing there on stage. I got the little bass, Scott and Kevin, and we're playing the 8th grade dance, and we played our little set, and man, people really dug it.
That's awesome.
They really got into it. So there was another event that just said, yeah, this is it, man. This is what.
Is that what gave you like that kind of spark to say,
yeah,
this is what we
want? This is it, and I just really never looked back after that, and we played gigs. We actually got some gigs. After that, we played we played some talent shows in the area. There were some they had what they call Battle of the Bands back in the old days.
Yeah.
And we did one over at Airway Shopping Center one time, and they had a flatbed truck sitting out in the parking lot. And so my dad would drive us to the gigs, and we would set up on the flatbed. And most of the other bands were older dudes, and we were the youngest guys. We were we were basically kids, and the other guys were older dudes, older high school guys, and so we played in these Battle of the Bands, and we actually came in third at one of these places, and it was crazy. It was just really crazy.
So it sounds like your parents were totally on board.
Yeah, my dad actually built my first bass amp. He bought back in the day there was a company called Heathkit, and they had you could buy these packages of amps, stereo amplifiers, and things like that. And my dad was really good with that kind of thing. He was, after he came back from the war, he was, an engineering guy. He could make anything. He could build things. He built my first bass amp, and and he was very supportive. My family was very supportive of me.
Not your grandma. But.
No, my grandma was like, she wasn't down for that. But my parents were great, and they really made me feel better about what I wanted to do, and they were very supportive.
That's amazing.
That's good. Yeah.
So how long did the Blue Mist stay together? Like, how long did you guys play together?
We were together for a little while. Eventually, that kind of went away. We kind of drifted off a little bit. I still was playing. I think I was playing with some different people with Kevin, because he and I kind of really connected at the very beginning of this journey. And
you guys are basically the same age.
Yeah, we're the same age.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been playing with him for as long as I can remember, and we would get guys to come and play guitar, and we would play as much as we could, at any time, anywhere. And and then once I got into high school.
This is all middle school.
Yeah, this is all middle school,
crazy.
man.
Wow.
Yeah, and then
This is crazy.
I became a freshman, and
You're a gigging musician. Before you even got to high school.
I've been playing as long as I can remember, and when I got into high school, I met up with my girlfriend. My sister was dating the guy Bruce Smith, the original Guided by Voices drummer.
Oh, wow.
Bruce Smith is the original Guided by Voices drummer.
Okay.
And originally, Guided by Voices was called Anacrusis.
Yep.
Okay, the story behind that was, in high school, I knew I was friends with Wendell and Tony and Bruce, and I was like, man, let's get together and let's get a band together. So we got together in my basement, and we would play. And we would learn songs we were playing back in that time, we were playing UFO and, things like that. And we didn't have a singer. And at the same time this was happening, I was I met Bob, and I would go to, hang out with him.
Bob is Bob Pollard.
Robert Pollard, yeah.
So how did you meet him?
Moving forward, we'll just assume that anytime you say Bob, we're referring to Bob Pollard.
Yeah, that's correct.
Just for the listener's sake.
Yeah, I mean, well, playing sports, he played sports, I played sports, so we crossed paths in that regard. And so, I would ride my bike over to his house occasionally, just to hang out. And he was collecting records at that time as well, and I was collecting records too. And he was we would go in his room and listen to records like old Genesis and Van der Graaf Generator and all that kind of stuff. And I would bring over some records for him to play, to listen to, like James Gang, whatever. It's things I was into. And so we had a common interest in sports and music. So through that whole situation, and not really thinking about him as being a part of the band or a singer, whatever, but he would share with me oh, hey, look, I made up a fake record jacket of a band I'm thinking about, and it would be a collage that he would have, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, man, yeah. And I go, oh yeah, I got some songs. And I go, are you writing songs, or are you writing lyrics? And how are you getting into this? And he's like, yeah, man. I'm like, yeah, this is great. This is what I like doing too. I sit in here and I listen to records, and I'm inspired for things like that. And so, not really thinking about the future of that, I would go home, and we would get together with Tony and those guys and play, and we're like, man, we need a singer, man, because none of us really were singers. And I said, well, I know a guy maybe who could possibly fill the bill. Maybe I'll talk to him and see what he thinks. And there was a other group of guys in our high school that had a little band, and they were like, hey, man, let's play a gig. Let's do a gig down at Brookwood. And Brookwood Hall is an old cement building down on Rip Rap Road, down by the Rip Rap Roadhouse. Mm-hmm. And that place was, over the years, so many bands had played in there. Yeah. I mean, bands like Green Day, Chumbawamba, MDC, Millions of Dead Cops. All these bands, because Ken Gross was kind of the guy who was a promoter, and this is years into the future, who would bring bands into town. Ken Gross is probably one of the most, I would say, best people who ever promoted music, next to Johnny Walker at Hare Arena. Johnny Walker was Hare Arena. Ken Gross, in my opinion, was the most influential and most important person in the Dayton music scene.
He was still doing stuff when we were playing.
Yeah, I remember that.
He was amazing. I don't know how he knew these people. I don't know. I don't have any idea how all this came about. But he had connects. He made connect. I don't know what he did, but he is. I would credit him more than anybody for being the reason why the alternative and punk and hardcore scene in this town is what it was, and what it was.
Meet Me in the City, sponsored by Twisted River Coffee Roaster. Twisted River offers an unpretentious approach to specialty coffee. Visit twistedrivercoffee.com and use promo code INTHECITY at checkout to receive a one-time discount of 10% off your entire order.
This episode of Meet Me in the City has been recorded at B&G Cigar Lounge, your home away from home, located in West Carrollton, Ohio. You can find them at 319 West Central Avenue. They have an ample humidor, all of the supplies you can need for your cigar smoking pleasure. We hope that you will stop by and support them as they are supporting us on this journey.
Now we're back in high school. The other local high school bands challenged us to a gig. All right, let's go, guys. What do you think? And we're like, okay, man. All right, we can do that. We were talking and like, okay, let's do it. And so they were going to set up a show, and we still didn't have a singer. And I'm like, man, we got to get Bob. I think, man, we got to get that guy. I think he can do it. I think he would be the guy. And everybody's like, yeah, all right. If you can talk him into it, do it. So I started talking about it. I said, hey, man, look, we got a band. Come over to my house. We're going to play. Check it out. We need a singer, man. What do you think? Come on. And he was like, I don't know, man. I don't think I can do it. I don't know.
Wow.
He was hesitant. He was like, So,
was he nervous about
I
playing?
just, when you ask a guy to be a singer in your band, it's kind of I don't know what it would be like for somebody to ask me to do that, but I would imagine you would be like, man, you're asking a lot of me. And I don't know if he ever sang either. I didn't really know. I just knew that him being him, that I think there was a potential there. I felt a potential that I think it might work. And I don't know why I thought that. I don't really understand it to this day. But I thought, yeah, I think you could do it. Because, he's used to being in the spotlight. He was, the quarterback of the team. He was like the main dude, And so I thought, well, you're the main guy on the football team. Be the main guy in the band, man.
Yeah.
It's a natural transition in my mind. Get out there, do it. And it took a lot of convincing. I think Tony Conley was trying to talk to him as well, because he knew his older brother, Tony's older brother, was good friends with Bob too. So I think between the two of us, I think we finally talked him into it. Excuse me. And so finally he said, okay, I'll do it.
Wow.
So we said, okay, we had a little list of songs. Like, okay, this is what we got. These are the songs. Let's try to get together and work on it. And we got some time to get it together and get our gig together. Let's try it out. And so we did had some practices together, and he actually was a good lead singer. He really took to it. I mean, as much as I took to playing the bass, he took to being the lead guy. I mean, he was the guy. Yeah. I thought he has to be the guy, man, and it worked out really good.
Yeah.
So things worked out well. We put together a set of a bunch of songs. We did Steppenwolf, and we did Fog Hat, and just some of the old school songs, and we put together a set. And so we got everything ready. The night of the gig, the night of the Brookwood gig, the big night. Oh man, we're all excited, man. I'm over at his house. We're like hanging out. I'm like, man, this is gonna be great. I think we're gonna really do it, And so we went down to the gig. There was tons of people there was more people. I couldn't believe it. How many people were there? And we walked in. The first band, they were called. Oh God, I can't remember the name of their band. They had some crazy name. We went in there and they were getting ready to set up and play. Well, their lead singer was an older guy, like in Bob's class, and he was drunk. He was drunk as hell. And we were watching, and they got up on stage, and this guy was like, no way he was going to be able to do it. He couldn't sing a lick. They tried to play. The guy was like stumbling around. We were looking at each other like, oh, fuck yeah. We're going to kill it. And,
We're
and
gonna kill him.
we're gonna kill it, man. And we were watching these guys flounder around. It's like it was a surreal thing to watch. A band like so cocky, but yet
Fell apart.
just fell apart in front of your eyes. And then finally, they're just like, "Well, we can't play. We can't do it." And we were like, "Oh shit, yeah." So we got our stuff, put it up there on stage, set up everything, and got up there. And I can't for the life of me remember the first song we played, but we did it, and immediately it was just like,
Wow.
fuck. I mean, we were just. It was. I don't even understand how good it was, but maybe because I don't. Maybe it wasn't as good as I thought it was, but I think it was. I think it was because we were all good musicians. Wendell Napier was a great guitar player. This was a guy who could play bluegrass. He was a great guitar player. I mean, and Tony was good rhythm player. I was really good at playing the bass, and Bruce was an amazing drummer. He was in the high school marching band. He did Dixieland jazz. Incredible drummer. I mean, incredible, unbelievable. To this day, I don't know if I've ever played with a drummer as good as him.
Wow.
But it just clicked. I mean, that night was just like a magic night. We went through and we played our set. You know, we played our songs. People were going ape shit. We were fucking going crazy. I mean, that to me right there was just like the moment that, oh man.
That was the moment you were
This
in.
was
You were
the
in,
moment
in.
that solidified it.
You
Other
were
than playing in the little band with, the little band with Scott and Kevin, that was it. And that was like, oh man.
Was it Blue Mist then too, or not?
No,
Did you change the name?
we called ourselves Anacrusis. I think that's what we called ourselves because Bob was like going to Wright State, and he was taking some music classes, and he saw the word Anacrusis, which actually means starting on the upbeat of the song.
Wow.
So we was like, yeah, that's a good name. We'll take that. And so that was the birth of Anacrusis. And at that generation of that gig, it spawned like our playing gigs all over Dayton. We played a gig. We played a gig at this place in Northridge called, oh God, I don't even remember the name of that. It was an old bar in Northridge that had bands, and it was a kind of a club, almost like a titty bar kind of a club.
Oh yeah.
And occasionally they would have this male dancer called Jeremiah. He was the guy, like the Chippendale guy. You know what I mean? And so it was like a really.
He was big in Northridge.
It was a really crazy place, and
that's how you guys had to follow.
And we were playing that. We were playing that in that club. We didn't actually follow Jeremiah, but we at one point we had more people at our gig than Jeremiah did.
Wow.
That was probably real early 80s. I mean, that was really at the beginning of everything. And it was.
So you're out of high school at this point, though?
Well, I'm a senior in high school.
Okay.
Bob had just graduated. So I graduated in 77, so it was probably 1977 when this was going on.
Wow.
Yeah, and we.
Shout out to Jeremiah if you're still out there listening.
Jeremiah, you've helped us out so much. But yeah, and then it was bizarre because we got offers to play at Obadiah's down there on Waterville.
It's another one.
We got offers to play at the Mouse That Roared out in Beaver Creek.
Oh wow!
And we got invitations to play at like outdoor parties, and we started getting gigs that coming left and right, and we were just playing more and more and more. And
was this mostly covers? Or
yeah, it was all covers. We had all covers, and we actually I don't know if I can. This good friend of ours, Randy Campbell, God bless him, rest in peace. a good friend of Bob's, good friend of mine. He went to a Halloween store, something, and brought back these flash pots. And what they were it was a big tray, and you put gunpowder or something in it and light it, and it would blow up. Like,
Wow.
It would blow up. And we're like, we got to use those, man.
Yeah,
We're gonna,
Pyrotechnics.
I'm pretty sure
we had
hoping pyrotechnics is a bad idea.
We had pyrotechnics, and we had these guys. One was Bart Hanselman, Randy. These guys, and they were like, "Yeah, we're going to be your roadies. We're gonna light them up." And we would set these pirate things up in front of the stage, and we would start. And in the set, we would, especially when we did "Born to Be Wild."
Oh, yeah.
That was our big song. And they would light them things off, and they would blow up, and we'd jump through the smoke, looking at people like, yeah, going crazy. And people would lose their minds. They would go absolutely insane. And we were just like, what do we know, man? We're just trying to have fun. And we just, like, yeah, that's what we do, And it was just like, we did that all the time, and just, that's
were all the guys in it? Like all the guys in the band, were they like, yes,
oh, yeah,
this is what we
yeah,
want?
Yeah, they were all down for
Bob
it.
was down after having, cold feet.
Yeah,
he
got into it really hard, and like he was totally into it. And we were playing a gig one night at the Mouse Roared in Beaver Creek, and there was another really popular local band at the time. They were called Son of a. And they came to watch us play. So, and around that time, Cheap Trick song "Hello There" came out.
Okay.
So we learned that one, and so we started our set with "Hello There." And so we started our show, and then "Hello There" was the first thing. We came out doing "Hello There," and I could look out in the crowd, and I'd see those guys, watching us, And there was like a kind of a rivalry that formed between our two bands, because they were a cover band also. Most bands at the time did covers.
Yeah.
And the thing that was kind of unique about our band was that we actually were starting to write our own songs. And because Bob had lyrics.
Yeah.
And he would, like, at rehearsal would say, "Hey man, I got some lyrics. Let's see if we can do it. Let's see if we can make a song out of it." So we would try, and we would actually craft a song, an original song with his lyrics to it. And we did. We probably ended up doing 3 or 4 original songs.
How long into the band before you guys started to actually write songs? Though?
This was probably pretty quickly into the whole thing. It just kind of happened really quickly with that, because I think Bob was like very. I think once he found out this was a kind of a good thing, I think he thought his creativity was. Let's do it. I mean, why not? And I was like, yeah, why not? Let's do it. We can do that. And actually, we did a gig one time, and we worked out one of Bob's songs that we did together. And so we were playing this gig, and I said, "Hey man, tell him it's a cover song. Tell him it's by Foghat or whatever." And so he goes, "Yeah, this is a Foghat song." And we did our song, and people they seemed to like it. They kind of dug it, not realizing it was one of our originals.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't remember if it was Fame or Fortune, but we had a couple songs that were really good, and so we progressed like that.
You were talking about the band that you were having the rivalry with. What was going on there?
Well, like I said, they would come watch us play. We'd go watch them play, and I don't know if we ever played together as together, but it just kind of sparked a competitive thing with us, and from Northridge in the 70s, dudes were competitive. I was a very competitive. I'm an alpha male. I'm competitive all the time. Bob, alpha male, competitive all the time. And so that just really drove that. Let's bury these guys. Let's blow them off the stage, kind of thing. That awesome. really set that into our thinking as far as a band was concerned, and we just kept getting our set down tighter and tighter and tighter, playing better and better. I mean, it really was a great point as far as playing and really getting into it a lot.
Learning your craft. Yeah. So how long Anna Crucis, how long did that band last? Did you guys end up doing any recording of any of the original stuff? Was it mainly just playing live? What's the story of that band?
Well,
how long did you guys last?
Yeah, it was basically a live band. We not knowing how the recording thing worked out. We didn't know anything about that sort of thing. We had actually talked about, man, we need to record things. So I think at one point we actually I used to remember doing this a lot back in the day, getting an old cassette recorder, turning it on and playing and recording it through the old cassette recorders that we used to have.
Yeah.
And so we did some of that stuff, but as far as recording in a studio or anything like that, none of us really had any idea how that would happen.
Yeah.
But through the course of us playing gigs, there was a guy that kind of hung around a little bit, and I don't remember his name at all, but he actually suggested that he said, I'll pay for you guys to record some music. So, and I don't think anything ever came of it. I mean, at this point, we're not thinking long term like that.
Yeah.
Not thinking about this kind of thing.
You're just playing music.
We're just enjoying what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're just going out and chicks and playing at the Mouse that Roared and
Jeremiah,
playing at Jeremiah's, playing at McGuffey's and
McGuffey's.
Stuff like that. That's kind of what we're doing, and me, I'm just like, dude, I'm going nuts. I mean, playing gigs, there's girls. I'm like,
couldn't get any better, right?
You're a rock star as far as you're concerned.
I'm a young guy, and I got girls come up to me and like, shit, whatever, dude. This is it. I figured, fuck, I don't know what else I could do, but yeah.
Were you working a job at this time, or were you guys just playing enough to?
Well, we're still singers in high school, so not really doing any work or not. I had some little odd jobs, that I would do. I was saving money to buy up my first car, and so I'm not, working a lot, but mainly we were kind of focusing on playing, and we were actually making a little bit of money playing some gigs, so that kind of put a little money in our pocket, and
feels good.
It was great, It was like I just couldn't even imagine. Man, I'm happier than hell.
Yeah.
I'm meeting girls from all over the place, and this is it.
Yeah.
I figured, wow, we made it now.
Yeah.
What else?
What was your first big break, you think, or what was somebody you played with at some of these gigs that you were opened up for, that really got your name out there?
Well, now that's another, that's a story that really happens quite a few years later. after the Anacrusis thing happened.
Yeah. How long? Well, before we get off, then how long did that band as a whole last?
I would say
Give or
maybe
take.
another 2 or 3 years.
Okay, so you guys are together for 3-4 years,
Probably.
playing gigs,
Early
doing
80s.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
early 80s.
Probably
Okay.
right up to the, early 80s.
Okay.
Would it be okay if I took a break?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take a break.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, because we haven't got you out of high school yet.
I know.
Jeez.
Yeah,
You've done so
Yeah,
much.
like I think just speaking generally, Anacrusis kind of set the stage for Guided by Voices because Bob and I were.
Are you still rolling?
No, I'll bring it back up.
We're good. We're good.
I'm just setting the stage.
We're good.
We would talk. He and I would talk like, man, we gotta do more originals. This is really where this should go. We need to be, if we're going to be a real band, we got to do our own music and do our own thing.
Yeah.
The other guys were more into. They wanted to stay being a cover band, bar band thing.
Making money.
And Bob,
Yeah, well, that's
Bob and
it.
I were like, no, man, let's be a real band. Let's do our own music and do our own thing. And the other guys were not having it. They did not want to do that at all because they were scared that people wouldn't like it or that
Right.
the thing would not work out or whatever. So I'll get into that.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I'll
and the
bring,
reality is like you could start a cover band today,
Yeah.
and if you're good, you can make money around town.
Oh yeah.
If you're
Yeah.
playing originals, writing your own stuff, and you go try and play around, you won't make anything.
Right.
It's crazy like
Yeah.
that.
People go to bars. They want to hear things they're familiar with. They like to
Yeah.
hear the covers. That's what they want. That's why they're there, basically. Not so much originals. If they want to hear originals, they would actually go see the original band play the song, like
right.
a Hera or wherever like that.
Yeah.
But we were like really. We thought that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
We need our songs can be really good. We can really work on them, and I think that's really what drove us to go originally to original music, and that's how Guided by Voices was formed, and that's the genesis of how that band was formed.
All right.
Hey everyone, Producer Sprinkle here. That's the end of part 1 of the conversation the fellas had with Mitch Mitchell. Part 2 will be coming out in 2 weeks on the 21st of February. Just keep your eyes out for that. All 4 of us wanted to say thank you so much for listening to our podcast and all of the support you've given us so far. We have a lot of cool interviews and conversations that are coming up that we're very excited to share with you. If you haven't already, give us a follow on Substack or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you feel inclined, you can leave us a review as well. That's going to help other people discover us on podcast platforms and just get more viewers. That's all for now. See ya.